What's going on, guys? Tony here again. Jeep Cherokee P0340, the camshaft sensor. I got the old one out and I got the new one on the way, on its way in. I'll tell you my methodology and hopefully it works out for you. This is the standard part number. The shop is closed today, so I wasn't able to use the lift at work, so I have to be out here and I need to get this truck moving, so gotta do it old school. Anyways, this is the standard part number PC308 from Standard. Now, this is my third Cherokee. It's the first time I've had to replace the sensor. My buddy who works with me at the shop, he had one or two Cherokees, I don't remember, but he also had a TJ, and he told me about Standard. I know about Standard, but the reason why I bring this up is because everybody talks about you should only use OEM parts on this and that and whatnot, for the Cherokees and the Wranglers, the 4.0s in general. But he says that he had replaced the this sensor from Standard on both the Cherokee and the TJ with Standard, never had a problem. So anyways, this is the old part right here. It looks like this is an original part because when comparing it to the old one, you can see the when comparing it to the new one, you can see a little bit variation in like the design and whatnot, but other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Now, I will tell you, keep this sensor away from magnets and other metal parts that might impact it. But this sits like so behind the by the bell housing between the trans and the engine, and then this wiring sensor comes down, clips onto the harness, and then goes in place into the bracket that holds it in place. So there are two bolts that are about an inch in length. These are the two bolts right here. Very difficult, but don't worry, I'll do my best to fit you guys in. Believe me, it looks way more complicated than it actually is, just because the lack of room that you have. But it's not outrageous. It's not impossible. So what I did is I came over from the bottom with long extensions. This is my setup right here. 11mm bolts. I know that some people have been able to sneak it out from the top, which is fine, but you can always skin a cat different ways, right? So I'm gonna see if my phone allows me to zoom in. They're up there. Let me try to refocus here. You can see the two shiny parts up there. That's where your 1, 2. Those are where the 11mm bolts go in. The sensor sits in place. Go out with your extension, undo them all. Don't let the bolts fall. If you have magnetic sockets, then that's great, but if you don't, have like a piece of cloth or something if they fall so you can catch them. But I just loosen them all the way, and then I go and remove them from the top. I know it's up down, but it makes the process go by faster. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the sensor, I'm going to try to pause the video, put the sensor in place, then go from above and start the bolts by hand, just 1 or 2 threads, and then I'll get back to you guys. If the video cuts off, then fuck it, good luck to you guys, but I'll be right back. Well, guys, good news and bad news. Good news, the sensor is in. Bad news, I dropped one of the bolts and my fingers are frozen, so it hurts to even fold them. So that is the position of the sensor. There's a little rubber piece in between the sensor and the actual housing. You may or may not be able to see it there, but let me get my finger in the camera. This baby right there, that is the rubber piece that I'm talking about. It just keeps dirt from going in there. So now I gotta find the freaking bolt, and it seems like it's very difficult because of how cold it is. It's very difficult for me to start the bolts by hand. So it looks like I'm gonna have to put a piece of paper in the socket and then put the bolt on the socket and try to guide it all the way from back here, because it is cold as shit. Hopefully I can find that screw, otherwise I don't know what the fudge I'm gonna do. So let me pause this video once again, and hopefully I can find that screw. Talk to you guys in a bit. Alrighty guys, so that's what I'm talking about. I put a piece of paper on my socket, or if you got gum wrapper, it works awesome to keep those bolts in place with all the extensions. So I'll give you two tips. One, if you're working in cold temperatures, put this on the sun so that it can warm up your tools while you figure how to do things out. That's what I did. See how cold it is here. And two, the sensor's in. I did have one more tip for you, but I forgot. So the sensor is in. I got it hooked up and everything. So you can see it's over there. It's very difficult to record and work on it. Sorry, I haven't invested on a tripod, and I don't know if I ever will, actually. I get a lot of hate on my videos because I don't explain things thoroughly, even though it says so on my video description, my channel description, that I'm not here to teach you how to do things. It's more of like a tips thing. Anyways, the sensor's also connected. There it is, and it does come with like a Christmas tree on there that keeps it in place so it doesn't rub in case it were to fall. That's the best angle I got of the sensor fully installed. Now I'm gonna go and crank it, and hopefully it starts, because all I had was crank, no start, and that code. Let me pause it, and if it starts, you will see. Well guys, the part went in, vehicle still did not start, so I will have to figure out what that code is, or what the root cause of it is. So stay tuned. Hopefully that was informative. See you guys. Sorry, I gotta take off my gloves.